Hey guys, so I'm going to try to give this a go. I wanted to share some of my bookshelves and some of the hardcovers and anthologies that I've collected that I maybe haven't really flipped through in a while. A lot of these are wrapped in plastic, seeing as how my bookshelf is right by my window, and especially with the colder months, autumn, and weather, I have to sort of protect my books from the elements. Seeing as how I do like to have my window open a lot, some of these are wrapped in plastic. This is my Tim Sale book that I just recently shared. And yeah, I've just been seeing a couple of videos that have sort of prompted me to want to crack into some of these books, especially some of the Alan Moore stuff I've been seeing shared. Actually, I had to record the audio over again when I initially made this video. The fans from the heat of the summer I had blasting really disturbed the audio, so I'm gonna try to give it another shot and sync it up as well as I can. I think I have a couple of my Blu-rays on the shelf also, Blu-ray collections. This is the first season of Fargo, which came with a sock hat. That was one of my brother's favorite shows from the last 10 years. And yeah, that's my dad's Baltimore Orioles hat from, he bought that not only out of enthusiasm for Cal Ripken, but he went to a trade school in Baltimore. So anyway, here's the checker reproductions of the Alan Moore image books, and a lot of these that you'll see are actually in other languages. Tracking down English copies was a little tricky, and it collects his entire run not in one but in two books, and these are the soft covers. I'm pretty sure he also had some leather bound hardcovers that were also made, but this was sort of considered Alan Moore's return to form. Rob Liefeld didn't really develop much of a character, so kind of gave Alan Moore free reign to delve into this character and flesh it out. And what he did was ultimately he did his continued take on his Superman, not just of Miracle Man or Doc Manhattan tradition, but really his elaboration on Superman himself. And this is book 2 right here. I only have one copy of this. I'm sharing between my brother and I think the second book is called Man of the Year, maybe. But this series actually wasn't initially concluded until Erik Larsen took Alan Moore's last script and he did issue 63. This is one of the first DC maxi series, 12-issue maxi series Camelot by Mike O'Barr and Brian Bolland. I believe this came out 1985, and it really loosened up DC towards the structure of doing a 12-issue mini or maxi series. And due to its success, it really helped Alan Moore negotiate Watchmen into the format they eventually went with. This book itself is really great because rarely do you see so much Bolland. I mean, most of us have read Killing Joke, but 12 issues of interiors by Brian Bolland, a guy who's primarily been a cover artist for the last 20 years, is pretty cool. Let me see here. So that's my Batman Adventures run. I don't really have these separated Marvel DC. This is a book that I was really excited about. I think I saw Kevin Smith do a review of this. So this is Paul Dini and Eduardo Risso on pencils, actually all of the art. And it's basically the retelling of a really psychological, brutal beating that Paul Dini endured and how he overcame it, how he persevered. This was, I believe, during his Tiny Toon Adventures days. He was working with Steven Spielberg. He was making a name for himself, and he really just reflects on how he was an insecure young guy trying to impress women with the fact that, he was working with Spielberg. Tiny Toon Adventures was produced by Spielberg, and shows how he used his love of cartoon characters and his own creativity to sort of build this world. And he surrounded himself with animation and imagination, and he was actually one of the writers on the original He-Man show when he was really young, Masters of the Universe. But as far as his outward persona, how he felt the world saw him, he was really insecure and introverted, but he, being a young guy, he wanted to take women out, and he thought his best access to that was to sort of show himself as a little bit of a big shot. I mean, the kind of women he was courting were trying to be, breakthrough starlets, making a name for themselves in acting. So, yeah, his efforts were geared towards that. But on this particular night, while I'm dropping a woman off, she's basically very clearly using him to meet Steven Spielberg, and she makes no bones about it. But he's so his will is so weak, and he's just so down on himself that he doesn't even mind it. But walking home one day, actually that night after the date, he gets confronted, and it almost seems like his tormentors aren't even really trying to get his money. They're just, well, not exactly bullying him, just basically getting out all their aggression on him. And while he survives basically what it would have killed a lot of people, he gets stomped terribly. But he's sort of imagining himself as, what would Batman do? How did he not handle this courageously? And even worse than that, he's dealing with the torment of, why did he put himself in that situation? Why was he walking home in the dark, bad area with his head down? But his whole approach towards just being a human being, he starts to sort of realize, is comparing everything to cartoons. And that's what really bugs him, is that he didn't even really see it coming, because his mind was wandering. So he has his accomplishments, his awards that he's won, and he sort of builds himself back up. He actually goes into work the next day, even before being hospitalized, and he sees a couple of people. He's badly bruised, but it's almost like he manages to pull himself together enough to just go to the office and get his stuff, and he's just holding his breath, still imagining all these characters. And a lot of credit goes to Eduardo Risso for using mixed media, so many different techniques. And here's another guy, Frank Miller. I've actually read, there's been a lot of different takes on it, but basically he was mugged while in New York early on in his career, and that really had an impact on his work. And this is the complete Spider-Man Frank Miller. It basically has everything Frank Miller did on Marvel Spider-Man, and a lot of it is covers, but he actually did some pretty cool interior stories, both as a writer and as an artist. He actually did the forward too. I wish that was an actual signature. But yeah, forward from 1994, basically right in the midst of his Sin City output. And yeah, most of this is even pre-Daredevil, but I think a lot of it took place. We'll see the covers afterwards, but most of it's like Spectacular Spider-Man, Sensational Spider-Man. I wish it was all of his Marvel stuff, because there's just so many things here and there, like his covers on ROM. But even though the line work isn't textbook Frank Miller, we start to see a lot of his cinematic angles, his early development. He uses the Spidey senses, not unlike Matt Murdock's extra sensory radar. And the coloring on these is really beautiful too. I don't think he was working with Lynn Varley yet, but some of the stuff is just really well done. Doctor Doom. Some of this even sort of reminds me of what he would get into in Ronin. Yeah, this is just some of the splash pages and the panel work. Really just cutting his teeth for Daredevil. It's a great panel. It might have even been the first time that Frank Miller ever worked with Klaus Janson, which was, just a match made in heaven. Klaus Janson's the master of that sloppy style of ink that looks so perfect, and it was pitch perfect for Frank's gritty stories. Yeah, some of these pages just lets the art breathe. Sometimes with Frank Miller stuff, it's almost out of place to see the white borders. You almost expect everything to be blocked in a chalky black. Yeah. Thank God for eBay. I think I eventually got this hardcover for around $20. Yeah, that's a great perspective shot right there. This might have actually been one of the stories that Frank wrote and maybe did layouts on. Some of the artwork I just don't think is his. He also worked with Joe Rubinstein a lot early on at Marvel. I think Rubinstein's inks are a little conventional for Frank Miller. Like some of the Marvel miniseries Wolverine work, it looks a little too polite. Whereas Klaus Janson's just completely unapologetic. Doesn't hold back. And I just think like the spontaneous cross-hatching is more of a match for Frank Miller. But early on, the editorial department had a much greater hold on him. Really nice looking Punisher there. J. Jonah. So yeah, I wanted to share this book. Spidey on the phone, that's great. Just in time for the train too. It's a nice looking Doc Ock. That's one of the cool things of flipping through a Spider-Man book. Spidey is never hard to spot. Train City over here. All right, Miller on Doctor Strange. Yeah, this cover section, that Amazing Spider-Man cover, I love. Behind the Bars, Peter Parker's so small behind the bars he could squeeze through. Yeah, I actually didn't know he did that first Mockingbird cover. See a lot of these. Spider-Man and Machine Man. Marvel Team Up, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. Man, just imagine how Frank would have drawn the Thing in 1995. Doc Samson Rhino cover. Yeah, see, it would just be difficult to collect all these Miller covers. I really like the paper quality on this book too. Spectacular Spider-Man 50th, fantastic issue. Nice. Now, some of these are unmistakably Frank Miller. Silver Samurai. You would have thought Frank Miller would have done more with the Silver Samurai. That's a great cover. That's a Miller all day. Yeah, see, some of this stuff, the one on the right even kind of looks like the way Romita Jr. would want his stuff inked, with the thick speedball lines. That city, though, man. Look at all the little greenhouses. Just more glass than you could throw a stick at. Excellent. Underlit. Gave the colorist something to think about with that jawline. Now this one right here. Wow. Spider-Man Daredevil 1 Special Edition. And that's a cover piece. Yeah. So, yeah, just a couple of hardcovers that I wanted to share. I have to reread the Spider-Man one. And definitely need to look at that Supreme book again. I need to read all the Supreme in order. And then the conclusion book by Eric Larson. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. I just wanted to share some books. And yeah, I could use another bookshelf. It's so easy to buy hardcovers these days on Amazon. You know, you buy them and they're on your porch the next day. If you're lucky, they're there. But housing them is a whole other thing. And a lot of times I realize I should just be going to the library, especially if I just want to read these. Anyway, I'll keep it under 20 minutes. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to do more of these and actually look at some more books. And I hope to read more too, which is the most time consuming, but thanks for watching. Hey guys, so here's a little part 2 of that video for the truly righteous who hung in there. So I bought some of these clear backer boards and some Mylar. And the main reason I did that was I wanted to share these Simpsons comics, but the back covers are some of the best I've ever seen before. And I really wanted to make sure that I could share those. This first one actually doesn't have a terribly interesting cover on the back, but it is kind of like the pilot Simpsons comic. I'll show you what I mean. This one I remember getting way back when my LCS was in the basement floor of the mall, Hankey's Comics. Simpsons Comics and Stories #1. So I just needed a copy of that. It's got the poster. But these first 20 or so Simpsons comics have some of the coolest back covers you'll ever see. That's issue 1. And yeah, I want to be able to display these. I don't even know how I'm going to do it because, well, for one thing, it's a flip book. So when the tape actually comes around, it's going to be on the bottom. It'll be like that. And it'll be my blue tape, but a clear backer board, so I'll still be able to enjoy that back cover. So I thought that one was great. You don't see these back covers every day, but here's Simpsons 2. Classic romance kind of comic. The hours of a nocturnal man seldom have daylight. I saw Bart Simpson's comic that had a really cool cover. It looked like it's that little devil Harvey character. Can't think of his name. So here's the back cover to issue 3. Kind of a Steranko cover. So, yeah. Back cover to issue 4. Dang. I believe it's pays homage to that Frazetta Clint Eastwood movie, one of the Dirty Harrys. I know Big Elbow got the score to recently. Shout out to the homie from Central California, Lee. And shout out to my brother Kyle Rowe for really wanting me to step up my Radioactive Man comic. So this one's back cover is just the wraparound, but it's still a good idea to use one of those clear backer boards. Here's Simpsons Comics 6, and this is a really good back cover. I haven't watched The Simpsons since about 1996, right around season 7, but it was my favorite show. My whole sense of humor was based on The Simpsons, probably from age 8 to age 16. And then South Park came out, McBain. Not that I turned my back on The Simpsons, but I think it must have been the episode where they discovered the angel remains in Springfield that I started getting really confused by the plot lines. Excuse me. I'm not quite doing it justice. I'm sure the show was still good after that. I just kind of stopped watching. It's a cool Edna Krabappel back cover. I'd love to get caught up, but there's so many seasons. I'd probably just start from the top, and it would take a couple of years for the show to really find itself, and it would just take a lot of time. But it would be a cool endeavor. I remember my brother and we started watching the show Cheers from the top, and man, the coach episodes were so great, but I just couldn't wait to get to the Woody Boyd character. So here's the back of Simpsons Comics 10. The great Hank Azaria was the voice of Apu. I don't know what direction they took Apu in. I know they changed it, though. Hank Azaria, man, he did a lot of heavy lifting for the show. So, episode issue 11. Far some old Western comics. Yeah, I remember Hank Azaria on TV on the show Herman's Head. He was Herman's kind of sexist best friend. Issue 12. And then I probably saw him about, would it have been about 17 years ago in Along Came Polly? Yeah. He was Claude, the French scuba diving instructor. It's issue 13. So yeah, I can't wait to get these in some Mylar. These bags, they smell like kind of like kitty fur, which I don't mind a great deal. My allergies kind of act up, but I just want to rescue the books from smelling of dander. Here's a really cool one. On the bright side, I don't think the previous owner was a smoker. So that's a nice break. Oh, wow. This is one of the greats. The back of issue 15. $16. $17. This is one of the best. I'm pretty sure this is Otto. Otto and Mo can look really close to each other, but because of the bus, I'm gonna go with Otto, the bus driver. Yeah. And it's issue 18. Millhouse. And then I think we start getting just regular like ads. They probably decided they need to start thinking more about revenue. Yeah. But there is one more cool sort of like, what would you call it? Cover tribute coming up. Let's see. I know there's one more coming up. Bear with me. 23. Here we go. Issue 23. It's a devil back cover. Pretty cool. Give me a second and I'll show you some of the other things that have come in, and thanks for hanging in there till the end of this video. Here's one more Bart Simpson cover. I just really like the cover too. I like all of the covers with Furball. These Bart Simpson comics, they're a little thicker than Simpsons comics. It kind of came out later. Nice quality paper. It's really hard to find these bongos in any kind of condition, because I'm not going to put it on kids. It's just anyone. A lot of people that aren't comic collectors would buy Simpsons comics. These ones right here. Some Pinky and the Brain stuff. Issue number 5. It's issue 2. Issue 3. Issue 10. This one's pretty good. Macbeth. or excuse me, Hamlet, but Brainlit. Davis Comic Finds helped me with this one. Mostly he helped me. Yeah, he did. Pirates of Dark Water 1. There's an extra. Quite a few of issue 1. Here's issue 2. This was going to be a 6-part limited series. 4. These painted covers are awesome too. Excuse me. Here's issue 5. Six. Another 6. That first half of the video was kind of dark, so just looking at some cartoon books is like sunshine on the morning after. Here's 8. And here's 9. And here's another little series I'm trying to go after, but I only have book 1 so far of Skeleton Warriors. Here's a couple of Beavis and Butthead collections. These are trades of the Marvel Comics. Mugshots. And the back cover is pretty cool. Butthead's dad. There's another little trade. It's just the Wizard magazine, issue 30. And just real fast, because I know cartoon books aren't everyone's cup of tea. There's Invader Zim. I think I bought these twice. 50. 49. I keep buying the same ones over because there's multiple covers of Zim. 48. 47. 46. 45. 43. I'm missing 44. And 42. And here's something I forgot I had. This is John Byrne Silver Surfer 1. I remember Charlton 66. I think his first contest, he gave away one of these signed by John Byrne. Man, I wanted to win that contest. Anyway, thanks for watching. Both, if you made it through the cabinet and the cartoon books, you're my best friend. Thanks for watching.